Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's just jump right back in where we left off. We had just entered the camp. I also accidentally figured out how to sneak. Now I have to, Alt shift, Alt S? Alt S. Okay. Yeah, so, okay, we got some named folks here. Who are you? Hail you, guardian of the law. The man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few excess rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You know that if the disfavored suffers a merchant in their camp, they must be a man selling only the finest provisions and armaments. He points towards his collection of shields, rations, satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. Let me see what you got. Much stuff I can't afford. Some water. Okay, +1 resolve. It's got to be a crafting system, right? No time to chitter. If you got armor to mend, speak to Uncle Pentabor. You can't make out the ironclad soldier's expression under his twisted helmet. He merely stares at you. Yeah, maybe, like, friendly reminder. This one I can open. Okay. Yeah, give me that. Bitter quip. Bitter quip. Glory to the voices of Narat, projecting his salutation for all to hear. The grinning blood chanter raps his staff against the ground as you approach. Fatebinder Pablo the pugilist, I presume. His smile quickly retreats, giving way to a sour scowl. I am Bitter Quip. I am here as an emissary of the Scarlet Chorus. Bitter Quip looks at you impatiently. What is it like working for the disfavored? He scoffs, looking away from you for a moment before sniffing and returning his attention to you. Reporting to the Iron Hag is an insult. She defended one duel for her title. One, her leadership must be continuously proven, earned, and defended. Weakness should bleed to the bottom of the army, not rise to the top. Okay. What can you tell me of the Scarlet Chorus? The chorus is the future of the tiers. I feel only derision and pity for those who fear our inevitable ascension. Bitterquip looks at you with a raised eyebrow. What in particular would you like to know? What do you do? I'm a blood chanter. My magic can turn the will of man and the tide of battle. I have held command for 3 years now, though being forced to keep an eye on the disfavored is not the reward I had envisioned for my service thus far. These dudes really don't like each other, huh? Okay. Very well. Very well. Are you a named person? No, but you got a box. And I want in your box.
I've got this.
Yeah, give me your stuff. There. Oh. Whetstone, okay. Game simmers over the large cooking pot. Fragrant spices attempt to mask whatever opponents smell. Okay. Barrack doesn't want to talk. I can't unlock that one. But I can steal something off this weapon rack. A shield. Okay. So far, as you in the comments maybe have noticed. Ooh. Don't think my build's very good, but hey. Maybe I can fix it. Let's give it some time and some patience, eh? Yesterday you chided me for wishing to wait. Now you suggest an even longer delay? Perhaps the voices in your skull ought to come to consensus if you wish to be taken seriously. Good advice is flexible, changing with the moment. Besides, now we're agreeing with yesterday you. Oh, okay. Well, let's see how this goes.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tiersmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with. His profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers.
Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Archon of Secrets passes the scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most notably where his neck ought to be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally. Well, hello there, Fatebinder. We'll be with you in just a moment. Oh, the scepter talks also.
Watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Let's remain
I always
silent.
know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. But his favored commander raises her voice, trying with little success to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our guests speak? That's a woman? Okay.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy.
The Archon of Secrets twirls his scepter in a twisting loop, his leather-wrapped hands flipping the heavy rod with an effortless flow. Can you hear us, Fatebinder? Cough if we have your attention.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his weight on his war maul, as blue luminescence crackles around his armor.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
Okay, so the Voices of Narat is talking to me.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
Yeah, Siren is, we saw her in the first episode. Or we didn't see her, but... Oldjir's song. I will not have you denigrate? There we go. I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren. The commander's hand moves to the hilt of her blade, though the weapon stays sheathed. I'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye's grating tenor pierces the tension in the tent, and all eyes land on the crimson spear. I meant only to say welcome to our guest, the Fatebinder. The armored retainer bows with rushed inelegance, then rises to a salute. And not a moment too soon. Okay, I gain favor with both. Nice. Governor Pablo the Pugilist, long have we been honored by your iron. We are honored by your presence. I must apologize for my lord's tempers run high of late.
Ah, the Stormcaller. Conveniently late once more. Our eyes and ears tell us you come bearing an edict. The anticipation is killing us.
Yeah, it's killing me as
My
well.
soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Eddring. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
On the last of his words, the Archon of War glares at the Voices of Narat, furrowing his brow as he utters the words camaraderie. Yeah, I require no thanks for doing my job.
Modesty is your prerogative, but know that cooperation and goodwill have been rarities of late. You do your Lord Tunon a great honor by aiding your cousins in the disfavored.
Oh, don't mind us while you trade your gushing praise. We're sure the Fatebinder has come because our company lacks in small talk.
Are you all done bickering? I have an edict to proclaim.
My dear Binder, we won't be done bickering until the last of Ash's hair falls out.
That's already happened.
Pause for you to read your little missive. Go on, don't keep us all in suspense.
We'll see how you feel about
For the
this.
second time, Brother Tunon selects you for the glory of proclamation. You should be honored. Tell us, what has the Overlord decided to unleash upon the Oathbreakers?
Ooh, okay. It seems you need some encouragement. In honor of your incompetence and disarray, the edict will execute every living thing in this valley. It seems you need some encouragement to work together. Kairos' edict will end the lives of everyone in this valley unless Ascension Hall is claimed by Kairos' Day of Swords. Ascension Hall is the traditional throne room for the Queen of the Apex. The throne stands directly beneath the mountain spire in the center of the citadel in the Valley of Vendrain's Well. The Day of Swords is the 26th of every month, or span, is Kairos' day. It is a day of holiday and rest for all within the Overlord's empire. Each Kairos' day is the last day of its span and is referred to by the span's name. Kairos' Day of Swords, therefore, is the 26th day of the span of swords. I pissed off the noises, but they're Grave and Ash are likely. The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment, its every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens, and muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feel renewed, the tired limbs now nearly buoyant with vigor.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Matani. We lose everything if we stand still, and we move to back up Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time, so we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A low rumble escapes from under his beard.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid.
I like this voice actor.
That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
The Archon of Secrets passes his scepter from one hand to the next, chuckling softly with each toss. Watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, expendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see blood echo in a blubbering mess with over a few dead soldiers. He used the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry, and even made a breastplate out of his dead brother's... ribcage. Because that's how a real man deals with grief. I'm not sure that's true, but okay. Are you too daft? It is your indecision and bickering that necessitated this edict.
Daft? Only fools hate their lives enough to insult our intellect. But, our dear Binder, your invective is not without purpose. Each moment we waste, death by edict draws closer. Graven Ash, we leave you to tackle the river. The chorus will scour the outer valley.
So that is what it takes to get you to agree to a plan of action. The threat of death? You place the Overlord in this position with your incessant arguments, but now we've actually agreed to do something. Kairos be praised.
Our lives hang in the balance because you two bicker like children. Now go solve this problem you've started. I'm pissing them off. I don't care. My Lord Barrick and his band have been drilled on the Echo Hall assault plans. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. We'll dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored can take the river, and the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunan's chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
Now that's something we can agree on.
I won't let you down, boss. He'll get through the campaign and win peace, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid.
And before we forget, we have a debt to settle. Last year, when our warriors got confused about supply lines, so kind of you to understand how things get muddled in the fog of war.
The Archon of Secret tosses several iron rings your way as he begins to leave. He taps the fifth eye on the shoulder and, with one last twirl of his scepter, swing by the Scarlet Chorus camp before you get wrapped up in whatever errands that his favored demand of you. Scarlet Chorus could benefit from your expertise. The Archon departs with his underling. Take the rings. The Archon of Secrets lets out a small chuckle as he leaves. Hey, look, I'm broke.
Finally, the fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end. Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. Now, if you'll leave me be, I have a battle to plan. I imagine duty requires you speak with the chorus further, but if I can convince you to lend a hand, most of my legion is trapped beyond the mountains, so I'm in need of an added sword or two. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short of a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. Yeah, I'd be honored to help. The Iron Marshal salutes, grave in ash, then turns to leave the tent. I'll be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you're ready. She pauses, clearing her throat. And though I am loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in the rat's nest they call a camp, due east. Seek him out if you must. She walks like she's got a stick in her butt. The Archon of War lets out a long sigh as he surveys the maps and models splayed about his desk. He glances over his shoulder, making brief eye contact with you, furrows his brow, and turns back to his contemplation. The first time you proclaimed an edict, you gave the enemy a suspicious amount of time to ready themselves. I chalk it up to excessive mercy for a backwards people. But when the edict is against your kin, that order, you follow to the letter. I tire of all this endless prattle. I am the Archon of War, and the Overlord has decreed battle. If you wish to help, go speak with my soldiers. Return when you have done something useful. The Archon of War pounds the haft of his maul against the ground. And okay, so you're a dick. Got it. You're a dick who I'm just gonna take a look at some of these boxes. You got some garnet here. You got a helmet. You know, what if you didn't have those things anymore? Bye. Very interesting. Based off what I'm seeing here, I actually, as a normal human, I think I'm seeing valid points from both sides of this argument. Isothanis, Sevius, Pentabor, Iron Marshal. She said east, right? So it would be over yonder. Sevius. Fatebinder Pablo. Am I right? I'm Sevius, the commander and third generation disfavored. Specifically, I'm Sevius the younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says commander, but lately I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to the Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. What is it you need? Okay. I overheard you talking about the reinforcements not working out. I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to help break the stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If we're at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on our side. Well, I could lend a hand. Could you? I knew that Tunan's agent would fail us in a time of need. I wouldn't fail us in a time of need. I'll mark the last known site of the Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder. Yeah, okay. Yeah, got what I need out of you. I have some money now. Okay. I also, I was told about his favored camp. Okay, so maybe it's actually in an entirely separate spot. What do you got for me, Iron Marshal? Don't just coddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Aranyos, field commander of the disfavored, pounds her fist in the air as she calls out to the warriors on the training field. I said, eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. Hey, that's like some football tips right there. The disfavored officer turns towards you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat. Charge with being blah, 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 blah. Okay. As she clears her eyes, as she clears her throat, jeez old Pete, need to stay on top of the troops of their skills, or their skills will rust. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. It was mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? I have brigades amassing along Placid, Echo Call, and Little Tooth crossings. The Vendoring Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-pronged attack. I have no right to give you orders, but... Her words falter, a short cough breaking her flow. But we all die to Kairos' edict should we fail. So I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of good help. Okay, I will assist. Then our plan might just work. The Iron Marshal lifts her gauntlet to close to her face, shifting her eyes from you to the metal articulations. We are loath to work with those who do not share our training and our values, but we know that Tunan the Adjudicator selects only the most capable minds for his court, and I trust you will honor us all on the field. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be Barrack of the Stone Shields. He points to a heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. Before you ask, no, the Forgebound weren't sloshed on Dappleseed when they fitted his armor. He survived the full force of the Edict of Storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise, it's something of a curse. Tapping your helmet twice, Arianios signals to the hulking presence. Barrack, come meet the Fatebinder. The soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone. Likewise, good Binder.
The soldier heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute, his whole body clanging as he wraps his gauntlets against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Barrack, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
Just a minute, you guys know each other?
No. Oh, that is to say, yes. I'm already as familiar with this ironclad halfwit as I care to be.
She regards Barrack with a mixed look.
We don't have time to trade jabs today, Verse. After the siege, you can throw as many tantrums as you please. I suggest that we remain focused on the mission.
No offense to the mission, but seeing you looking like a garbage heap and reeking of a mass grave is more amusing by far. Did you forget how to don your armor, or did Graven Ash leave you out in the rain?
Barrack sighs a frustrated growl, shaking his iron enclosure of a suit. I don't believe we've been acquainted.
It's challenging enough to experience battle from a courtroom, much less remember the faces of your cohorts. I wouldn't expect you to know me under these accursed blades of rust.
He bangs on his malformed chest armor for emphasis. The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
He nods to you, his armor creaking as he bends his neck. I asked that Barrick accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Barrick, you've been without a cohort since the last Battle of Stalwart. This time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hands on her hips and speaks in clipped official terms. Ash has assigned you to the Fatebinder's service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? I suppose I could be in worse company than that of a renowned mage slayer. I have seen how this one treats upstarts who fail to recognize the benefits of Kairos' peace, though I would much rather attend to my duties here. That is, unless you're serious about my change of assignment, Iron Marshal. Well, most of the mages of tears... Oh, okay, yeah. We couldn't get the flame mages to bend the knee, so things went a little pear-shaped for them. That's an order, Barrick. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus to you. He can be as stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. I do mind, but I'll allow it anyways? Nah. I'm honored. Yeah, I'm honored. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. Okay, Barrick. He's higher level than me. They both are. Oh, okay, we get an extra resolve because we're under the effects of the edict. Well, let's inventory you. I have unspent attribute points. Oh, okay, I see. Art of the Blade increases one-handed, two-handed damage weapon. Gain a chance to attack enemies as they engage you. Barrick becomes an intimidating force on the battlefield. Enemies nearby Barrick have their resolve reduced. Yeah, we're gonna go Sentinel here. Taunt, basically. I like the idea of taunt. Taunt seems like a useful skill to me. Okay, I see now. This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. Okay, now, so I rested, ran around, looted a couple of things. Let's go ahead and sell off all my garbage. Okay, I ran around camp. I looted some boxes, and from there I went ahead and sold off kind of all the random junk that I was walking around with in my pockets. And now I'm going to go try to find the Scarlet Chorus's camp. Scarlet Chorus camp, yeah, okay. Yeah, it'll take me an hour to get there. Path is blocked by a small group. Okay, so there are random events, random battles that occur.
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
A woman's a woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose fitting traveler's garb, and her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of a sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Vendrian regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests draped over her arm. Okay. So what is this? What does blue body paint mean? Trappings of the School of Tides. According to the Fatebinder Regalis, the majority of the school fled before coming to School of Tides traditionally studies magic water and grave light, the art of directing the moon's arcane light into baleful, searing energy. Okay. The Blue Fang is a symbol of diplomacy and truce recognized across most of the known world, and it is a custom the Tearsmen hold dear. To harm another person under the auspices of a Blue Fang is a grave offense in both the Tears and the Kairos' empire. The customary punishment is death. Okay, so she's waving the white flag.
In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
The woman bows deeply, lowering her head in a practiced display of etiquette. The warriors by her remain in a ready stance, their nerves clearly on edge. Yeah.
As is our custom,
I
we are
abide.
ready to kill to defend our lands, but we kill only in fair battle. We don't slay our prisoners. We know this isn't Kairos' way, but we must have hope. A few of my kin have gone missing, and though they may have perished, I have to inquire on the off chance they still live. If Captain Tarkus Deimos still lives, we would negotiate for his release.
Okay, so this is that dude that I couldn't talk to who was named in that very first entry area. Assuming he's our prisoner, what would you offer in
We
exchange?
would offer you 5 choirmen that got lost on patrol. They're healthy, got other limbs too.
I would not have us barter with oathbreakers. Certainly not for anything less than disfavored lives.
You say there's something worth less than a disfavored life. Call me intrigued.
Is there no way for me to accept this? Sorry, that means nothing to me. I will not negotiate with oathbreakers. I will say that we let him go. Tarkus Deimos was found at the Edgering ruins. We let him go.
I see. Well, no doubt he must be on his way home then. If I may make one more inquiry. What of Palox Tyrell? Did he survive?
We're reasonably certain that she's asking about the Vendrian guard warrior that took Drastus hostage at Edgering ruins. He did not survive the encounter. Palox Tyrell is dead. She nods slowly, saying nothing for a long
My
moment.
apologies, Fatebinder. I had a terrible feeling this errand was in vain from the start. I had no expectations that our friends could be saved, as I'm sure the time for swapping prisoners is long gone. But at least I know of what became of them. That'll have to be enough.
I have some questions
We
for
shouldn't be socializing with oathbreakers.
you. Yeah, but
I will
I'm gonna
entertain them as best I can. After all, understanding is the only hope we have. What is it you wish to know?
Why do you resist Kairos?
I
What are you
grew
trying
up
to say?
without my knee bent to Kairos, and if I'm going to bow to someone, let it be another Tearsman. We've ruled ourselves just fine for centuries, so we'll give our lives so that our sons and daughters might rule themselves.
Okay, well, only your daughters are really free in the tiers. Why fight against Kairos equality?
There's freedom, then there's trusting idiots with power. Give a man 1,000,000 marauders, he'll lose sleep worrying over his neighbor's 1,000. I prefer my realms ruled by the braver sex. For centuries we've let the lands to the women and the seas to the men, and we did plenty fine until Kairos came around.
But a mage like you would not be subject to such superstition and fear under Kairos' reign.
I doubt life is any better sworn to some mad Archon. I'd rather stand with my fellow Tearsmen. Or, I suppose, stand immediately behind them in the event of an attack.
At that remark, the soldiers flanking her exchange shocked looks. Ebb turns her focus to her compatriots.
Yeah, you heard me. Way things were years back, you'd all be calling me a water witch and conspiring to sell me out to the nearest sage. Just because I'm helping you stop Kairos doesn't mean I've forgotten the hospitality of ages past.
And people wonder why the Tearsmen could never unite in time to fight back. It's refreshing to see that some things never change.
And why do you think you have a chance?
Oh, we don't. Those who believed Kairos could be stopped all died years ago, in the first wave of fighting. It's not about the hope of victory. It's about the hope of inspiring others. It is very likely we will fall here in Vendrian's Well. But perhaps others will arise elsewhere.
The younger realms were beset with constant battle. You'd prefer that to Kairos' order?
You make conflict sound like a bad thing. Yes, the younger realms saw frequent battles, but it was never this wholesale slaughter like we've seen of late. No Tearsman ever cast an edict on the soil, or forced prisoners to kill each other, or butchered beastmen tribes.
Let me ask of something else. Who's in charge of this insurrection?
Listen to you, thinking just like the Overlord wants you to think. There always has to be a person in charge, or things don't make sense. Well, we don't answer to anyone. We are each of us sons and daughters of the Tears, and take this task upon ourselves freely. But Captain Tarkus Ari, former Falksman of Queen Vendry and Alanta, is the voice we trust when we seek unanimity.
Were there prisoner swaps in the past?
Binder. Here in the South, only thugs and bandits kill prisoners. The younger realms may be guilty of constant fighting, but we never slay each other when the battle's long over. We're not about to change that now. As a rule, Kairos' forces haven't been keen on swapping prisoners. But I know our disfavored prisoners aren't prisoners anymore. I just assumed they were swapped for some of our own.
And how'd you guys overthrow the garrison?
I would joke that the voices of Nerat left the gate unlatched, but dozens of warriors lost their lives taking the Citadel. There was no secret to it. We simply attacked with speed and certainty at a time when the Archons were elsewhere in the Tiers. The Scarlet Chorus had a rout, and what few disfavored soldiers were present made an impressive showing. But they were surrounded and overwhelmed once the chorus fled.
Okay.
Yes, Deimos was Ari's brother. We were certain he was dead, but the captain takes family seriously, so I volunteered to find some answers. Fair enough. But now a question for you. The Edict. I can feel its magic coursing through the air. Everyone can. But those of us enlightened to the currents of magic feel it most. The wording of the Edict. What was it?
I'll be honest.
In the name of the vaunted North, the will of Kairos should be delivered with blade and hammer, not to the ears of oathbreakers and compromisers.
Curious. You did say all in the valley. So the edict will affect Kairos' forces? This is most unexpected.
Her eyes widen at your words.
That is most troubling. So either the soldiers come to destroy and kill us, or the edict does the work. I suppose we should be so honored the Overlord is taking no chances on us. I've another question for you, if you will entertain it.
Perhaps.
Are we really standing here and chatting with Oathbreakers? It's hard to watch, like cuddling a goat you're going to kill for dinner.
When I was young, my parents told me the Tears were special, and the Overlord's edicts and armies could never touch us. Seems I've been told a hefty sum of lies. So answer this honestly for me, please. Is it true that Tunon's Fatebinders can smell truth from falsehood? Thanks for that. I could see why you'd want to foster the mystique all the same. The School of Tides would always tell commoners we didn't know how to summon drinkable water. Once they find out, you can't eat in peace. And Kairos' edicts. I have heard the sages speak at length that some of the edicts elsewhere in the world have been broken. How is this?
The Overlord has some control over how the edict lingers, but Kairos only knows the exact details.
Ah, so some edicts are forever. The rest are, as long as Kairos has in mind? Needless to say, Kairos' magic is unlike anything we've seen in any Archon. And one more mildly self-indulgent question, but I simply must know. Kairos, male or female?
I honestly don't know.
Really? You don't know either? You work for the Overlord, but you don't know if she, or he, has an innie or an outie?
I mean, I don't know what most of my supervisors' belly buttons look like, but yeah. Would you feel better or worse to know you lost to a man or a woman? Why does this matter?
You speak true. It ultimately matters not. My apologies. The question now seems rather foolish. You must remember, Kairos was just a horror story from distant lands for much of our lives. We have many unanswered questions.
I mean, as do I.
You'll forgive, I hope, the questions. The Overlord and his Archons used to be things of legend. Now they're everyday maladies, and I'm eager to separate the truth from the lie. In accordance to our most ancient customs, let us depart in honorable accord. May peace find you, Fatebinder.
She bows deeply, pounding her staff on the ground twice before turning to leave. Received a missive. Word has reached the court that you have issued the Overlord's edict to the Archons of War and Secrets. Know that we understand fully the weight of this burden and appreciate the loyalty you show in its declaration. Provided you survive this span, your service will be duly recognized. As you navigate the idiosyncrasies and mutual antipathy of our Overlord's War Masters, remember that Kairos watches all with interest. Those who distinguish themselves, whether Fatebinder or Archon, have the opportunity to rise in the Overlord's esteem. Even now, the Northern Courts whisper that the more successful of the two Archons will begin to rule over the whole of the peninsula. Similarly, your fortunes rest upon the decisions you make. Choose wisely. Thanks for the advice. Allow me to express my deepest appreciation for this opportunity. You and the Empire have the honor of treating with the Archons, and fewer still of reading the empowered words of the Overlord. I endeavor always to emulate your exemplary foresight and judgment. I remain in all things your faithful servant. Send it. Okay. Very well.
Can't do that.
Yeah. See, the map clued me in that there's little something. What are you? Grasslands, steers, stretching, blah, blah. And any other little bonus bits? No? Okay. Oh yeah, I was still heading there. Alright, we've arrived at the Scarlet Chorus camp, and without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and end this mission.